That might have been the first stress-free Raptors game that I've watched in years. That is insane. What do? I thought I was going to come up here and start bashing the team already, but I have nothing but good things to say. Just play the intro, I guess. Toronto Raptors beat the Atlanta Hawks 138 to 118 on their season opener to open up the season 1-0. My name's OUTBURST and welcome back to the Raptor Rundown. This is the first episode that's actually been after the game and the Raptors won. It's currently 3 a.m. as I record this, and I have multiple roommates that are currently asleep, but I don't care. You know what? It's the NBA season. There have been an entire full slate of games that happened today. I can't wait to talk about that on the podcast, but today I have a special series that I get to talk and rant about my Raptors because we opened the season with a W, which I'm going to be completely honest, I did not expect it to look that easy. Just straight up thoughts right after the game. I did not expect Atlanta to look that sloppy. In fact, the way Atlanta looked out there tonight, that's sort of what I expected from the Toronto Raptors, especially on the offensive end. I expected this game to be a lot of missed shots, really scrappy, tons of turnovers, because it's two teams that recently added a bunch of new players, and there needs to be a time period where they gain some level of continuity. But the Toronto Raptors looked like they've been playing together for years now, whereas the Atlanta Hawks looked like they haven't played basketball in their lives. I'm being a little harsh for the Atlanta Hawks, but to be completely honest, the game was in complete control for the Toronto Raptors for majority of the game. We started off the game trading buckets. Barrett hit 2 of our first couple of threes this season, and he looked incredible today. Barrett ended up winning the player of the game chain from Darko Rajakovic, and it was definitely deserved because he was an absolute bucket out there. It's an interesting point that Bobby Webster actually talked about during one of his press conferences where with the addition of Brandon Ingram, it sort of might make the game easier for Barrett, and you saw it today. When we're playing these teams this season, they're going to end up putting their best defender on either Scottie Barnes or Brandon Ingram, and they're going to put their second defender on the other person. The best guard defender is probably going to be placed on Immanuel Quickley, meaning Barrett very well may be guarded by the third or fourth best defender on a given night. And we know one-on-one going downhill towards the basket is Barrett's specialty, and it's really hard to stop him, and Atlanta couldn't stop him tonight. He only shot the ball 12 times, which getting 25 points from 12 shots is incredible efficiency, especially from Barrett. There's a remnants to the start of last season when he went absolutely nuclear out the gate coming back from that shoulder injury. He ended up slowing down a little bit. Granted, a lot of injuries happened with the Toronto Raptors, but this year he actually seemed to have some help scoring the basketball, which is exciting. To continue the game, we saw the rotations a little bit, and we saw some of the first subs of the season made by Darko Rajakovic. The first hybrid unit between the bench and the starters ended up being Immanuel Quickley, Gradey Dick, Brandon Ingram, Ochai Agbaji, and Sandro Mamukelashvili. Clearly going for sort of a lineup that has a lot more shooting, especially because we started the game not shooting the ball particularly well. Now, Immanuel Quickley, Brandon Ingram, and Ochai Agbaji all struggled shooting the three for tonight, but I feel like that's the lineup that Darko Rajakovic is going to put in the future to sort of find the three-point shot and get it going. Because normally, all 5 of those guys are very capable of shooting the three. We ended the quarter up 2, and the second quarter was a little bit of the same thing, with us dominating and setting the pace, setting the tone on defense, and trying to push the ball in transition. Pace is the key word of this game because the Toronto Raptors ended with 34 fast break points and 22 points off of turnovers. Early on in the game, we really were having foul troubles, which was a little bit of a concern for this style of defense, but over time, I feel like we'll learn to foul a lot less and know when to gamble on steals, and hopefully it'll look a lot better because it was really messy at the start of the game. I mean, we know a guy like Trae Young's going to end up with his free throws, but by sending guys like Jalen Johnson and Zachary Reese-Shea and Nickeil Alexander-Walker to the line, we're sort of shooting ourselves in the foot and keeping the Atlanta Hawks in a game where they really shouldn't have been in it. But yeah, Atlanta really surprised me. They looked incredibly sloppy today. Besides Jalen Johnson and Zachary Reese-Shea, it honestly looked like everybody struggled. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis shot the 3-ball really well, which is going to be really helpful for them this season. But their main guy, Trae Young, he really struggled to get going. And I want to shout out OUTBURST, who struggled on the offensive end, but he was put in a lineup with some of the other starters as well, just so that he could contain Trae Young, which is what led him to getting the Defensive Player of the Game chain, or staff I guess it is now, from Darko Rajakovic. The second quarter was where Gradey Dick started to actually hit some shots, and in the third quarter he exploded, having 10 of his 21 points on the night. It's hilarious to talk about this now because quite literally on the last Raptor Rundown we had a question asking, or a prediction rather, about Gradey Dick not being on the team by the end of the season. If Gradey Dick can produce at this level or even similar to this level when it comes to a scoring aspect, he will be on this team for a very long time. It's a great start for Gradey Dick on the shooting guard battle with Jacoby Walter. He was out with an illness. It's a great start for him. I think he has a leg up on Jacoby already, and I'm going to be interested to see some of the lineups that Darko Rajakovic has. Maybe he puts both of them on the floor at the same time, because I think Jacoby Walter is very capable of playing the small forward position. But yeah, the bench minutes were probably one of the biggest highlights for me in this game. Obviously, Gradey was the scoring spark off the bench, but Mamu had a team high plus minus. Jamal Shedd's minutes were great. He looked really in control out there. OUTBURST was a defensive demon, and even Jonathan Mobo, with Colin Murray-Boyles out, he provided some great minutes off the bench as well to sort of keep us afloat, give the starters some rest as well. Jameson Battle got some minutes as well, which was a little bit interesting from Darko Rajakovic, but he hustled out there, which is all I can really ask for from him. But as a shooter, he didn't hit a shot. I don't think we'll see much of Jameson Battle when the lineup is fully healthy, I'm going to be completely honest. The third quarter is where we took full control of this game, scoring a game-high 45 points in the third quarter, which is insane. We also limited the Atlanta Hawks in those two quarters, in the second and the third quarter, to 25 points and 28 points, and that's sort of what built the lead overall. And from that point on, it was a pretty comfortable lead for us, to be completely honest. Atlanta would try coming back, they'd hit maybe a three, but we would respond really well. I was super proud, and to be completely fair to the Atlanta Hawks, when we're scoring at that level in the paint especially, it's going to be really hard to beat us. I feel like overall Atlanta was really missing a level of rim protection that's really needed against the Toronto Raptors, especially with the style of basketball that we're going to play. We have a lot of people that really succeed going towards the rim. RJ Barrett, Scottie Barnes, Brandon Ingram's mid-range game is great. And then today, Immanuel Quickley apparently. It was a really weird Immanuel Quickley game because he generated really good looks. All of his threes, I would want him taking any day of the week. He just didn't hit a single one of them. And it's kind of like he played the opposite of a natural Immanuel Quickley game. Usually he goes out there and shoots above 40%, near 50% from three, but then struggles attacking the rim and scoring from the mid-range and inside the paint. Today, all 5 of his shots came from inside the paint, whereas he went 0 for 7 from 3. So I don't know what's going on with Immanuel Quickley. What I do know is that in the future we will need him to be hitting those threes because he is one of the few consistent sources of three-point shooting in our lineup, especially in our starting lineup. The last person I want to talk about that I haven't really talked about today is Scottie Barnes, and I'm going to be completely honest, every single Raptor fan and every single Raptor reporter, every single Raptor media personality thinks Scottie Barnes fooled the entire fan base. I mean, you look at his preseason, you look at his parts of his season last year, and it was really bad. The shot selection was terrible, he was taking way too many threes. And then you look at this game, and it's a complete 180. He got to the rim at a consistent level, scored in transition, and in my opinion, did not take one bad shot. And above all, he did not force the three ball. In fact, he didn't take a single three today. And I'm going to be completely honest, there are going to be games like that where he's finding a lot of success in the paint, finding success from the mid-range game, where they don't double him. Atlanta wasn't sending a second defender, which I think might be the dumbest thing you can do when guarding Scottie Barnes in the post. And yeah, eventually he's going to be left open from three, and I have faith that he's going to shoot that shot, and I have faith that eventually he's going to score at least at an average level shooting the ball from three. A lot of this really does come down to the gravity that Brandon Ingram has, and it's something that we've been missing in the past. Like, let's be honest, last year when RJ Barrett was our leading scorer, he does not have the gravity that Brandon Ingram provides as a scorer. And even though they all have very similar shot selections, with Scottie Barnes and Brandon Ingram in the mid-post range, and then RJ Barrett going towards the rim, it still opens up and frees up a lot more space for RJ Barrett and Scottie Barnes to operate. Plus, above all, it feels so good to finally have someone when it's short clock, you need a bucket, you need someone to find a shot, and you give it to Brandon Ingram, and he is able to at least get, whether contested or not, a shot that I'm comfortable and confident in him taking. And today he didn't even shoot the ball particularly well, but it was just so helpful to have him out there on the floor, and you could tell the difference right away. Some of the takeaways from this game, and I wrote these down. I loved seeing the offense this fluid. It was super shocking to me. We need to continue to improve on defense. To be completely honest, allowing 118 points to this Atlanta Hawks team tonight isn't the best. I think we definitely need to improve on defense. There were a couple of miscommunications. I know there was one where Trae Young had a wide open layup. We need to keep talking, and that'll improve over time. I have confidence in our defensive schemes overall. We need to continue to force turnovers, especially without fouling. I mean, like I said today, we had 22 points off of turnovers, 86 points in the paint, 34 fast break points as well. So turnovers are a really big part of our defensive identity, and we need to continue doing that. I also loved our activity on the offensive glass. We got 12 offensive boards and 19 second chance points, which were absolutely huge. And one thing to note is that next game, it'll be against two really great rim protectors in Giannis Antetokounmpo and Miles Turner. So one really important thing that I'm going to look for is how well this team looks spacing the floor, because I think we will need to shoot the three ball a lot more than we did in this game. I think they're going to end up clogging the paint and forcing some of our stars to shoot the ball. So I think we really need to have a confidence in our shooters. I would love to see the lineup that Darko Rajakovic had put out as our first hybrid lineup with the starters, with Immanuel, Quickley, Gradey Dick, Brandon Ingram, Ocha Agbaji, and Sandro Mamukelashvili. I think the three-point shot is going to be super important next game, so I hope Gradey Dick can continue shooting the ball at an elite level. I also hope we get Colin Murray-Boas back, Jacoby Walter as well, because I really want to see what the rotations look like fully healthy. And to end it all off, I want to give my Player of the Game award to RJ Barrett. I think he was in absolute control tonight, and to get that level of scoring on just 12 shots, it's something that I would have never expected from RJ Barrett. Usually he has to take at least 18 plus to get this level of output, but he was incredible tonight. And he went 5 for 5 from the free throw line. RJ Barrett is shooting 100% from the free throw line this season. That has been a real area of issue for him in the past. So even if he shoots, listen, he's not going to shoot 100%. Even if he shoots above 70% on the season, I will be happy for him. That'll be a great number for RJ Barrett to aim for. And we do the You Suck Player of the Week on the podcast. So I kind of want to do a You Suck Player of the Game for each one of these games. And today, luckily, it doesn't go to a Toronto Raptor. It's going to go to Dyson Daniels. Coming off a Defensive Player of the Year caliber season last season, Dyson Daniels really looked uncomfortable out there today. He was trying to force too many steals, gambled on so many possessions, and eventually ended up in foul trouble, only accumulating 22 minutes. As your team's best defender, you have to be more disciplined than he was today. I have faith that he'll show up. This isn't going to last long. But yeah, if I had to pick one today, it would go to Dyson Daniels. What a shock. I would not have predicted that before this game. But yeah, with that being said, let me know what your guys' thoughts were on the Toronto Raptors season opener. Let me know what you think are some of the keys to the game for the Milwaukee Bucks game on Friday. I'm going to be watching that, and then right after, I'm going to be watching my Toronto Blue Jays in Game 1 of the World Series. And also leave in the comments any questions, any predictions, any hot takes that you have. I hope to do sort of a Q&A weekly on this channel, so make sure to leave those there or message them to me on Instagram or Twitter. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get those numbers up. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube Shorts. We post on all of those platforms, so you don't miss out on a daily dose of Six Talks. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next Raptor Rundown.